When configuring all of the different networking options that we've been talking about in this module, sometimes there is some confusion, and I want to see if I can help you alleviate or remove some of that confusion, because it can cause a lot of troubleshooting angst when you run across this. First of all, take a notice here of server 1. It's a generation 2 type machine, and if you started this whole course with us, we talked about Gen 1 versus Gen 2, and Generation 2 are the newer type for Server 2012, and 2012 R2 has new enhanced features that we went through. And Server 2 is a Generation 1, which means it's able to run legacy drivers, it's able to run older operating systems, and when it comes to networking, there's a difference between these as well. First of all, I want to open up Server 1, which is Gen 2, and show you something. I'm going to go into settings, and up here at add hardware, I want you to notice that it says I can add a SCSI controller, and we talked about fiber channel adapter. There's network adapter. Now the word network adapter means that this is a synthetic network adapter, and really what the synthetic network adapter means is you're going to see it gets more features than a legacy one. And so I want to show you where you're going to see both side by side. I'm going to go to a Gen 1 machine, my server 1. Let me hit cancel here. And I'm going to go to server 2 and open up settings. And here in at add remove hardware, there's those words, network adapter. So I can add a synthetic or newer type of network adapter driver. And I have one down here that we'll be able to examine and compare with a legacy one. When I go back up to add hardware, here's where you'll see a legacy network adapter. Now, this is sometimes called an emulated network adapter. Now, this will support your legacy operating systems, and it can support an operating system installation without having the guest services installed. But it's also missing a few things. But let's go ahead and add this. Now, it's pretty much set up the same way as you would have expected with everything else that we've been doing with a regular, or I should say synthetic network adapter. I go up, I decide what virtual switch he's going to use. I'm going to say switch 2, and I can also enable virtual LAN identification or the VLAN identification. I'm going to open up though this little plus sign, and you'll see as I expand this, I get some options, advanced features. Well, let's compare that to the synthetic network adapter. If you recall, the synthetic network adapter, I got hardware acceleration features. These adapters, if the physical hardware supported it, and I could utilize these acceleration features to make my network communications faster. The legacy adapter doesn't have those options. Now, when it comes to advanced features, they both have advanced features. And just as like the MAC address, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of these other features out here when we get to NIC teaming. But these features are available on both the legacy and the synthetic. The important part is there's no hardware acceleration for those legacy adapters. So which one do you want to use? Well, whenever possible, you would want to use the synthetic network adapters. Now, that means that you have to have the guest integration services installed, and you may need to install additional drivers into that operating system to take advantage of these features. But that's really the differences between synthetic and legacy network adapters, and you can configure them both. Here's where the number one troubleshooting issue is while you're trying to set up a network adapter, you're looking for those hardware acceleration features that you want to utilize, and you don't see them. And the reason you don't see them is because it's a legacy adapter as opposed to the new synthetic adapter. Well, with that, let's take a look at one of your number one performance increasing measures that you can take configuring NIC teaming inside of a virtual machine.